Yeah, Ryan's record. I'm just gonna breeze over a bunch of stuff, especially because of the little one here kind of killing me today. But yeah, I got.
Wait, I got something real quick.
Well, yeah, go.
Remember yesterday we were talking about Fauci?
Yeah.
Listen to this.
But I want to know what you think you and the community got wrong. Was the closing of the schools too draconian? How much of a delay did the fact that nobody fully understood the asymptomatic spread of this, nobody figured out that it could actually bust through certain vaccine
She keeps using this
levels
word
as
nobody.
Well? What
we talked about it. Yeah. I'm not a fucking scientist. I knew what about asymptomatic.
I think we have to get away from the blame game because so many of the things
why? Because you'd be in trouble?
Were unknowns at the time.
We don't need to hold anybody
and
accountable.
I made that comment in my response to one of the questions that Davis Wallace Weld asked me in
this is in the New York Times profile.
In the New York Times profile. And
super
I didn't mean
reputable
it as an
news
affront
source
to him, but I said, this is really big time Monday morning quarterbacking here.
But I want to know what you think.
There's so many things we didn't know at the time.
Oh, Guy is such a lying POS. Guy,
how could anyone know? We knew. We talked about it.
And then
you're supposed to be the big. You were the biggest. What was he? The most expensive employee in all of the government, more than the president.
And that guy propagandized the whole world to get an injection for something that could be killed with sunlight, hand sanitizer, and washing your hands and covering your mouth with a paper mask that doesn't do anything. This guy violated the Nuremberg Treaty, and he should be sentenced accordingly.
Ryan, you need to get away from the blame game.
No, we should blame this guy. It's crazy. If I install electricity in your house and it burns down, I go to prison. But this guy can sedate half the country with a lie and make Big Pharma billions of... If this was any other time, David, that's all you'd hear would be Big Pharma.
The blame game.
But come down to shut down the whole world.
Look at this poll. Oh, we can't take it. It's not a real Twitter poll, you fools.
It's unbelievable. It doesn't surprise me, but... Joe Biden said this week. I'm just going to breeze over this quickly. Biden, there's no such thing as someone else's child. No such thing as someone else's child. Our nation's children are all of our children. I've seen how you treat all of our veterans.
Yeah, that's an interesting statement. What was the context of that statement?
I don't know. It was something on Twitter. I came across a news article from the Financial Times. This is the actual one I seen in the store. I took a picture of it. The U.S. urges South Korea not to fill China's shortfalls if Beijing bans microcon chips. And this is dealing with the computer chips that are basically made in one part of the whole world, and it's owned by those Asian companies. And it goes in military applications for missiles and cars and vehicles. It's always been a problem.
Yeah, all the chips in the world, not all of them, but most of them, are made in an area that is right next door to the country with the largest military on the face of the planet.
I'm going to breeze over something here. This deals with the Dominion and the Fox News and CNN drama. But BlackRock owns 59 million shares of Dominion. BlackRock owns 45.7 million shares of Fox. BlackRock sued itself and fired Tucker Carlson as a part of a lawsuit. Have you figured it out yet? It's a very simple tweet for the very complex issue that Tucker Carlson has gotten himself into.
It is the elites versus us.
Time magazine here. The inside story on how Biden cleared the field for his re-election bid. When Biden entered the White House in 2021, insiders predicted he would not hold the Oval Office for more than one term and then step aside. That thinking has completely fallen apart.
Oh, completely. That's weird. Oh, look at this. Did you see this?
There isn't an opening for a Democratic challenger, says Biden aide who's tracked his polling closely. You're not going... Why would I believe polling? If that girl was real on there?
I think so. Unless it's AI. They're all looking at her like, this bitch.
I love this podcast. It's just like, once again, those podcasts that you see, like the Whatever podcast and Fresh, is like the 1% of women. Like, really. Back to the whole Steve Crowder thing. You're looking at the 1%, the very specific instances. The first time Barbie will be representing a person with Down syndrome. Normalizing your kids just being okay with physical normalities.
I saw that. Did you see the commercial for it?
No.
It looks like a parody that somebody did.
Well,
I'm still not entirely sure that it's not a parody.
David, I know we spoke earlier in the week about the economy, but I have one here from CNN, and it's layoffs. A growing list of companies are announcing layoffs this year and concerns about economic uncertainty, as well as the need to cut back after going on a hiring spree during the pandemic. Disney, BuzzFeed, Lyft, and Deloitte, Deloitte, are among a list of the major companies that have reduced their workforce. Reduced workforce. What a term.
Yeah, but I'm sure
the tech sector has also been hit.
Low unemployment,
Yeah, growth recession. The tech sector has also been hit hard over the past few months following mass layoffs in 2022. Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, and PayPal have also axed thousands of people. It's funny they didn't put Twitter in there.
That is weird, but Facebook did it too.
But Twitter, they had like a prime chance there. And they warned additional cuts may be the only way. That comes as first-time claims of unemployment benefits rose to 245,000 last week, above the expected 240.
Well, I'm sure it's super low unemployment though.
Just 5,000 off. Our prediction, yeah, you guys are that good with numbers. You can't catch freaking kiddie porn on the internet.
Ryan, do you support this move? When did we talk about this? 2 weeks ago? Last week?
Yeah. Except I would like to cut that one part right off the by the Mariana Trench and just have it float into the ocean and never be seen again.
TQ++. Yeah, we talked about this when we were talking about pedophiles. The hell do they call it? Minor attracted person, MAPs.
I got a little bit of existentialism here. This is a Twitter tweet from Chris Williamson that comes from Malcolm Collins, and this deals with the population collapse. Population decline is terrifying. For every 100 Koreans, there will be 4.3 great-grandchildren. We are looking at a 96% extinction rate within the next century. If there was a disease that did that, we would freak out. The world lost it over a disease that killed 1 to 2% of people. We need to take the fertility crisis much more serious. Malcolm Collins.
Elon's been hitting this hard. What the hell is this?
Look at it moving.
Flat Earth.
See the light in the clouds?
God's just using the flashlight, dude.
I don't know what the fuck that is. That's weird.
Serious question, David.
Yeah.
I got caught up in the religion black hole this weekend. Not that religion is a black hole, but the proof of Jesus Christ.
You got to do one of them.
Just the proof that Jesus Christ. There's historical evidence that Jesus Christ was a real man, and by default, if Jesus was real, the Bible's got to be real, right?
How do you know that Jesus was a man and identified as a man, right?
Apparently there's at least 150. Apparently there's like two very well like textbook concrete examples, and then there's up to 155 other. But let me ask you this, David. If you saw a video of a resurrection, sorry, well, we can go there, of the resurrection or of an exorcist, would you believe it?
Okay, so how?
Because this is kind of like my alien thing, right? The reason I don't.
I'm guessing this is a semi-facetious statement, because obviously I wouldn't, because video didn't exist back then. So, like, how literal am I supposed to? Do you mean like in general, like if whatever?
Yeah, let's say it happened again and we were able to record it. Would you believe it? Or an exorcism, more importantly, an exorcism. I saw an article on exorcism this week that was pretty mind-blowing and very interesting, thought-provoking, not to mention, I think we're in a spiritual war, personally. But
I don't know if I would, and it's not because I don't believe in, like,
Right,
Jesus
you
or
just-
resurrections. I need to see shit in person, I guess.
Right. You could think it'd be fake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this whole notion that you need to see video proof of documents and all these things to believe is kind of crazy. It's just I just wanted to put a footnote in this because, you know, that video in particular kind of sparked that thought of like, how do I know that's even a real video? You know, but
Yeah, you can't, right? Yeah. Especially now. I mean, maybe 10 years ago or whatever, but especially now with the AI technology the way it is and some of the things that we've seen faked, it's extra hard to just believe what you see on video now. It was a lot easier to believe it before, but now it's so easy to with the technology the way it is.
I don't think it's ever been easier or hard. I just thought the difference between the past with video and the current with video is we didn't believe it until there was another means of verification. Be like, oh, this girl got beat up. Here's the video evidence and a photograph of her, right?
Sure, like two forms of ID, really.
Yes, exactly. And now it's like everybody just sees the video and won't discount. It won't. They take it at face value that it's correct until they're proven wrong. But you never catch the retraction. That's kind of the whole point of being overloaded.
Sure.
So, yeah. Another quick thing here. Pence testifies before federal grand jury investigating Trump's role on January 6th. Pretty sure Pence came out and tried to rat on Trump. Like literally said that the president tried overturning the election.
Yeah, Pence is a bitch.
So I don't expect anything else. David, I want you to pull up a guy on YouTube or Twitter or whatever.
Okay.
Brian Johnson, BRY, like B Ryan, and then Johnson.
36 tweets in the last hour, Brian Johnson.
He should look like, yes, this guy next to Tiger King.
This guy?
Yeah, next to Liver King. Yeah. This guy.
This guy?
The left guy, yeah. Not
Okay.
the Liver King. This guy is spending millions of dollars calling the project, it's called Project Blueprint. And he basically just eats supplements and pounds of vegetables and does all these very crazy health rituals. He's like literally, this dude's trying to like slow down his biological age by measuring his telomeres and having all of these. He said he's aging at 0.76 years. Like his biological age compared to his year age.
Okay.
And this is just what these freaks do when you get billions of dollars to try to live forever.
Brian Johnson. I don't understand.
Yeah, this guy here.
So what's his story?
I don't know how he made any of his money. I've just caught him over this health stuff, but he literally takes like 100 supplements a day, you know, and he eats like 70 pounds of vegetables a week.
Day zero.
But he has this insane healthcare regimen, and they do all these testing, and it's like open source, right? He's got it all on the internet, right there, Blueprint X, right here. Oh yeah, I don't know what this is then, but yeah, that's what it's called. It's called the Blueprint. I didn't want to go down a crazy rabbit hole. I thought he'd have like a short or something posted to that he could like explain it quickly.
No.
Yeah, the guy's just very interesting. I don't know what I believe. This guy's kind of he looks creepy. You know, like
Looks super. Yeah, something's off.
he's like 3% body fat because he, you know what I mean? Like he measures. Yeah, like this guy. You know what he actually reminds me of? If you've ever seen the movie Prometheus.
Dude, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
This fucking weird. I don't
Yeah.
know. Something's weird here.
Yeah, man. You know, but these are those people.
BCP scan report. So this person's 45 years old. I take it.
Mm-hmm.
Visceral fat. Just fat, muscle volume, liver fat. Weird.
Yeah, and they do like 100 indicators of health. They take all these tests. You know, it's just yeah. It's interesting.
But is
He like does this. He has a machine that he puts on his stomach for like 20 minutes, and it simulates like a 45-minute workout for his abs, and it like almost is like palpitations to his muscles. Like stimulates it with a shock.
weird? Okay.
Very
Super weird.
Yeah, super weird. The guy looks like an alien, and he just reminds me like Prometheus. But these are one of those creepy guys, you know. Like these guys are going to do everything in their power to stay alive longer.
That guy's up to no good. I don't like it.
Yeah. Egypt says Netflix portrayal of Cleopatra as a black woman is a blatant historical fallacy. This is the country.
Netflix says this?
No, this is the country of.
Oh, Egypt said this.
Egyptian experts reacted angrily to the upcoming series, adamant that the country's most famous queen was a Greek descendant and light-skinned. Not that skin
Yeah, we
color.
talked about this last week.
Yeah, not that skin color is a problem, but this isn't just people on the internet, which is what we covered last week. This is the actual country of Egypt and Egyptologists. So, yeah, this isn't just blowing smoke up people's ass. And Donald Trump news. There was an article I seen that they had newly released White House photos captured the day bin Laden was killed. Pretty gnarly. Took me back. It's basically, obviously, it's like Obama and stuff in the Situational Room. Just very interesting. And it's always worth noting that when they release these documents, we have to have like a verbal memory bank at this point, you know?
Yeah, the Situation Room's got to be a wild place.
Yeah. With car repossessions. Gas leaf blowers and lawn mowers are shockingly bad for the planet. Bans are beginning to spread. So you won't be able to cut your grass without a battery anymore. Popular diet. Dave, you ready for this? Remember, we've been coming on here and telling you guys that they're attacking the diet and the biology of being carnivore. And popular diets may increase rates of heart disease. American Heart Association says, you know what diet they were targeting, David?
Which one?
Ketogenic, which is lack of carbohydrate and sugar and processed food.
Yeah.
Because, you know, cavemen 10,000 years ago had Kraft macaroni and cheese.
I'm sure that, yeah, definitely.
After Fake Drake opens copyright questions, lawyers answers if artists can protect their style against AI. This article is saying that they can't. So I told you guys last week about this, that we're going to hear about this, and this is going to transpire into movies, everything else. We're already seeing it. This was a Fox News article. Babies basically do a little dress rehearsal for real life in the womb. And this was showing a 3D sonogram of babies basically fake crying. And it's almost like they laugh, they cry, they act surprised, they move their face around, and they basically do all the expressions that they're going to do in life inside the womb. So it's a pretty smart clump of cells.
That's pretty wild. Surely they don't have feelings, though.
I cloned myself with AI. She fooled my bank and my family. Pretty interesting article. I didn't read the whole thing, but it was basically a woman used an AI to like make phone calls to her bank and stuff. And personally, I'll just spread this little bit of information to everybody. My family and I have developed a safe word. So that I also heard that there was fake kidnappings being used by AI to try to blackmail people into paying money.
Fake kidnapping?
Yeah, like a guy used a video of a woman's daughter and said that if you don't give me $3,000, you'll never see your daughter again. And it was just,
whoa.
Yeah, he just used her face that he got on the internet, sent it to her daughter, sent the video of the daughter and just edited it all with AI. Because you make them, yeah. All they need is like a few TikToks, you know, they just need a couple of vowels from you and they can make whatever. So my family and I have actually developed a word that we spoke in private to each other and all agreed on that if that ever happens, that we would have to say very particular set of words or a phrase to let the people that we're talking to know that it's really a real thing. Sounds crazy, but so does Nigerian check scams when you know Prince Abu Dhabi that's going to send you $1 billion if you just sent him $59.99.99.99. So
I like Abu Dhabi.
David, I believe you brought this up. The first smart gun with facial and fingerprint recognition is now for sale.
Yeah.
NPR
Yeah.
article. Pretty
We mentioned it very briefly.
interesting. So yeah, and with that, I'll get to this entertainment this week. Yeah, I actually I started a new job, still electrician, David, and I was kind of cut loose this week. I got to explore some of my downtown local business areas, some of the most historical buildings in the city I was in this week. Very interesting. I had this weird recollection, David. I was looking up in the Rand building, which was built in like the early 1900s. And when you look up at the ceiling, it had all the inlays and all the symbols in there, like wheat and like a Sagittarius symbol, and all these things were all tucked up in the ceiling. And I asked myself, like, why would they make the ceiling so beautiful when you never look? But then I realized as I was sitting there gazing up, it was almost like I was gazing up into the stars in the universe.
Mm.
Right? Like,
Interesting.
right. Cause I was bored. I wasn't on my phone. I was waiting for like the maintenance guy and stuff. And I know, David, I always share this with you guys, but I try to not be on my phone in public for like safety reasons but like to practice being bored. And I caught myself gazing, and it was like this awestruck moment that like, I realized how beautiful the building was that I was in, and how small but yet powerful it made me feel to experience such a lovely space. So maybe I look at things because I'm a construction worker and I'm in buildings now. And, I always had the aesthetic eye for cars and the way cars sounded and felt, and how the paint of the car with the body lines and the interior and the designs and the rims and how all these things kind of tick together on cars real nice, kind of taking that creativity into houses and buildings and these spaces that I'm in, and feng shui and all that stuff. And yeah, I felt like I was gazing at the universe.
It's kind of got to be a little. It's probably a little tricky working in places like that too, because it's not like everything is so replaceable.
Yeah, and you got to retrofit stuff, historical buildings. You got to like do certain stuff, or you can't in Buffalo for historical buildings. You have to build out 5 feet from any exterior window because you can't cover the original windows or the outside of the buildings.
Interesting.
Unless they're repaired the exact same way. Yeah, it's just very interesting. It's cool too because I like history to begin with, but then I get to work on the buildings that were built by people that aren't alive anymore. Like I get to fix the stuff our grandparents built and left me. So I'm learning the new techniques and having to know the old techniques, like that non-spoken generational conversation.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because you got to think like if that building was built in like 1905 or whatever, make it like the person building it was already 30 something years old. You know what I mean? So like that person was born in 1870, and like I don't know, it's just cool to just be connected so long ago.
Yeah, and like to take it back to cars because that's what I know and compare it to what I do now. It's like cars are way different. Like the old car still holds that same kind of like wow factor that this building thing is, but it's not like they're tearing every building down every year and replacing it. Like automobiles, it's very easy to just like, I think that's why they're so cool after a while, is because like, wow, I haven't seen one of these in forever. But all the houses you drive around were all built in the 80s, basically, right? They're all
Yeah.
So like, it's almost like time stands stiller in buildings because there's no real innovation in houses, right? Like electricity hasn't changed in 100 years. It's literally the same tool. A linesman is the same tool our grandparents had. The same exact tool. It just has a newer handle.
Yeah. Well, residential and industrial like wiring is a little different, isn't it?
The wire looks different, but it does the same thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's been no.
The technology isn't really tremendously different.
It's just made with little better quality stuff.
Yeah.
Like wire is still wire. It's not just, it's coated with like a polyurethane coating instead of a lacquer one. The wire lasts a little longer and doesn't crack. Yeah, they're better. It's better made. Yeah, but like the general, like a car suspension system has changed 1,000 times in 100 years. Electricity's probably changed 100 times in 1,000 years. So it's just cool. It's just like one of the reasons I love it. But my true entertainment this week, it all kind of ties together. I went to a bookstore. I went to Barnes & Noble up in Williamsville. Bookstores are a thing of the past. They're going to die in our lifetime. And I was walking around and...
I'm not gonna lie, I thought they were dead already.
And people buy books. We're seeing the censorship on the internet. Buy books. Buy the good books. Buy the best books. Buy the religious books. Buy the classic books. Buy the Iliad. Buy the Odyssey. Buy 1984. Buy To Kill a Mockingbird. Buy Of Mice of Men. And I was walking my daughter around one of the tables, and it had like 20 books on there, and it was those books: John Steinbeck, Of Mice and Men, 1984, Fahrenheit 9/11, Animal Farm, Looking for Alaska, The Catcher in the Rye. What's the one with Holden Caulfield? That's The Catcher in the Rye. To Kill a Mockingbird, like all these old classic books. And it was like, I read that one in high school, read that one in high school, and I guess I undervalued how much I actually appreciated literature.
I thought To Kill a Mockingbird's interesting, right? Because there's been this recent push claiming that it's a racist book. And I was like, well, you're missing the entire context and the point of the book.
It's racist if you don't read it.
Right.
And that's kind of what I realized. Like, I would wager that most of these classic all-time literature books, all these books that all of our parents and grandparents read, right? This like classic Americana literature have been replaced. Those aren't the books they read. They read different ones about that same topic, right? I don't know this. I'm just guessing. But like, it made me really value my place in the Matrix and what age I am, the time I grew up in, the people I know, the people that taught me, right? Like all that. My teachers being probably like conservative liberals or liberal conservatives, right? Like that whole era of people that raised us. Like we came up at like the best worst time. It made me really appreciate that I was raised by the like great literature of this country and like the reason why I can spot corruption, mostly. But I did pick up, you guys know I'm a big Jordan Peterson fan. And I picked up his book, 12 Rules for Life. I have bought this digitally, but I've made a notion that I'm going to try to buy physical books and read physical books. I also picked up a bodybuilding book, the Encyclopedia for Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I won't get into that. This book, I've read about a third of it digitally, so I'm just going to pick up where I left off, obviously, in the hardcover here. It's incredible. Everything I've read so far is incredible in the book. I can't wait to finish it, but I just felt compelled to buy it hardcover. And there was only 2 copies left. There was this copy and then his second book, which was Beyond Order, I think Beyond Order is the name of it. But the point is, Jordan Peterson changed my life. This book is life-changing. And I encourage everybody to check it out. I don't know like how big people are about books and stuff, but maybe go get a cup of coffee and just go walk around and try to enjoy like the last, I guess, of this dying art form, this, arguably the most important things that we've ever invented. And we're watching them slowly fade into history. So we're going to write books about bookstores one day, it's.
The thing that's interesting about the idea that hard literature, physical books goes away is that 200 years from now, there could potentially be missing information in history.
Yeah, what if a great flood happens again? Or a solar flare and it knocks out all this power? What if we're all neuralinked and a solar flare knocks us and kills us all?
It's just interesting because if you think back thousands of years, we took scripts from Egyptians and stuff, whatever it is, but we've used this form of communication for so long to track our own history that if it goes digital and it gets lost digitally or it's misplaced on purpose digitally, that we're going to literally not know our own history.
Yeah. And Andrew,
some would probably argue it's by design.
Yeah, and why they don't want you to read cursive, right? So you can't read ancient works like the Constitution to know what it says. But this is like something Andrew Huberman has talked. They've done scientific studies, and you remember better when you read and write on physical paper. Like you actually read on physical paper and you write with a pen and paper. Screens, laptops, it's not the same. They did testing. They cross-tested them. It don't matter. You're not an auditory learner. Nobody learns by auditory truly. The only way to truly retain information is repetition through writing on paper with pen and reading on physical books. The screen is a bug zapper. It changes your mind, your brain waves. Like,
that's weird.
So once again, back to...
Have they gone into why that is? or do they just know that is? They don't.
They,
know why
well,
yet?
I'm sure they know, but I mean, the screen companies make the screens to make you addicted, right? So you stay on them. Like, do we need to know why they do it to know they do it? All we need.
I'm curious
Yeah.
why it happens, just scientifically why that is the case.
Yeah, I think it was just more so because when you write, it's creating the nerve to brain, like the muscle to brain connection, right? Like you would almost associate the word with the motion of writing the, right? So it would.
So is it not necessarily? It's not necessarily reading a physical book or reading on screen, but it's the act of writing something down that changes it.
Yes, writing in particular is not. If you type on a computer, it is not the same as writing it down. You don't retain as much. You don't remember as much. It's not as well understood. You understand it better when you write it down physically.
Interesting.
But yeah, it trickles over. Don't think like this screen tricks your mind. It's a fucking dopamine hit every time screen. So like, it's almost like like reading on a screen is killing your attention span, while reading it on paper is promoting it. So this is something I'm trying to do. I'm trying to read more, and not to mention Jordan Peterson's a phenomenal guy. So
Well, I'm glad we get to be everyone's dopamine hit.
yeah, amen to that, David. As always, thank you for your time. Dave Ryan, December 17th, 73. Catch us Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, YouTube, most importantly, Rumble and Facebook. Dave and I will be there. Yeah, David, thank you again, and I'll see you guys later. If you guys made it through the episodes this week, I appreciate it, especially to the end. You guys are my true warriors, and David and I appreciate you guys for your time. So thank you all. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ryan.
See you, bud. Yeah.